Okay, we're gonna work on getting the coil pack bracket back on. All it is there's a ground wire. It's a 10 millimeter bolt. Let me get it under here. You can see where that little tab right there will fit in there. And then you secure it with a 10 millimeter bolt. And there's a 12 millimeter on the bottom. And then I got a problem here, because I think I left this stud in right here. And I'm just putting temporary another 12 millimeter bolt, but I'm gonna order the stud and then I'll fix this later. And then the coil packs will just go on with these 10 millimeter bolts on the side. So I'll come back once I get the bracket on and do the coil packs later. But yeah, there's supposed to be a stud right here. I think I left it in with the engine when I shipped it off. Who knows? I have to look at some photos, but they probably took it out and didn't get it back. But anyway, I'll order that piece and put that in later. All right, we're gonna put these coil packs on here now. The 2 and 3 coils goes on the back side, like so. And we're just gonna put the 10 millimeter bolts on. And I'll show you the front one here in a second. At the number 1 and 4 goes on the front, like so. Put the 2 10 millimeter bolts on, tighten it down snug. Not much to it. Next thing we're gonna do here is plug in the engine wiring harness to the coil packs. I'm gonna put a little bit of dielectric grease on the connectors and plug these 2 guys in like so. Next, we're gonna replace the O-ring on the oil dipstick right here. It's part number 96721-19010. I had to buy a bag of 10 of them, so hit me up in the comments if you need some for your job. What I'm gonna do is just put a little oil on it, and then I only got one hand here, but just slide it up on here, like so. Next, we're gonna put the engine oil in the engine. I'm gonna go ahead and get that in there. It's a break-in oil that Yoda One sent. So I'm gonna put, I guess, 5 to 6 quarts in there. I can't remember what the capacity is of the engine, but we'll check it as we get 5 in. I'll check it and see where we're at. When I put the engine oil dipstick in, important note, like you'll push down on it, holding the tube right here, and you'll feel it snap in. Then the last part's just getting this 10 millimeter bolt on to secure it. Correction on this bolt here, it's actually a 12 millimeter. All right, we're at 4 quarts on the oil here. I'm gonna check the dipstick, and it's hard to tell in the video, but I think we're right at the low mark. So I'm gonna put another 3/4 of a quart in and then see where we're at. All right, we put about 3/4 in. Again, it's hard to tell because it's so clear, but we're about halfway between low and full. I'll put that back in. Grab the oil. I'm just gonna put the rest of this in there because I know once this thing gets cranked up, it's gonna go down a little bit. We'll have to top it off. I had an idea. I'm thinking after the 1500 break-in mile point, I want to think about sending the oil off to be tested, and maybe doing that every 5,000 miles afterwards. I think that would be neat to see kind of how the engine's wearing the first 10, 15,000 miles. Document that. So put it in the comments if you think that's a cool idea. I'm thinking of some other things to do, maybe a dyno test. An easy thing I can do after that 1500 miles is do the 0 to 60 test again. So if you got something you want me to test or do with the engine, just drop me or put a comment down and I'll see if I can make it happen. All right, put the rest in, so we're at 5 quarts and we're right at the full line. So I'm gonna leave it at that and we'll top that off later. And I apologize, I forgot to bring the selfie stick, so I'm having to do a lot of one-handed stuff here. All right, starting to put on some accessory belts. First one I put on is the alternator belt, and it goes over or under the crankshaft pulley, and then this fan pulley right here. And you put it on here, and what you want to do is you'll want to get this thing moved to the left, probably about this far. So you have this 12 millimeter loose, and then you'll have to keep loosening this up and getting it over this way, so you can put that belt on to the alternator pulley. Once you get it slipped on, you leave this bolt loose, and then you just keep tightening this down until you get good tension right here. And then you just tighten this 12 millimeter back up. So that's what we got here. About to start on the air conditioner one here. It's a little different. So it goes over the crankshaft pulley in the middle, and then over the AC pulley. Then you have the idler pulley, the infamous one that always gets, or the bearings start going bad because it's sitting down here, right where it can collect mud and all kinds of stuff. Similar deal, there's a 14 millimeter right here, and you're gonna have this 12 millimeter loose, and you're gonna just tighten up this 14 until you get the tension you want. Pretty self-explanatory, although I messed it up when I was younger and stripped out the bolts and stuff, not having the right tools, not knowing what I'm doing. Anyway, I'm gonna cut on that one. Last one is the power steering pulley. It goes over the outer crankshaft pulley down here. Of course, the power steering pulley, and then you got the idler pulley. This is the new one I had to buy. It's like $150 from Toyota, and I had stripped out. You can't buy this little, you can't see it well, you can't buy this block here that the bolt tightens into. So, or at least not by itself from Toyota, so you got to buy this whole assembly, and it's pricey. So I just went on Rock Auto. I'm like, if it doesn't work out, I'll just replace it later with a Toyota one, bite the bullet. But yeah, you just tighten up this bolt right here, which is a 14, and then you tighten this, looks like a 14 on the front here once you get the right tension. So the next step here, we're getting the radiator put in. I've pretty much got it mounted up because it's really simple. You just got 4 bolts, 12 millimeters here, and then, sorry, there's the other one, there's the 4th one. And what you're gonna wanna do is get these all in loosely. I had to come down here and put a piece of wood, I'll show you, like this, pry over. Probably do it on the other side too. Just then having someone help you thread it in would be good. The other thing I had to do was remount the transmission cooler. This is aftermarket Hayden. I just cut the ties, moved it over to the new one. And the other parts we're looking at is just the fan shroud. It's 4 10 millimeter bolts. Super easy. Then we got the lower radiator hose, and it just goes on like that, and the upper one's gonna go like this. That's it. So we're gonna get this all bolted up and get the coolant put in. All right, next we're gonna get the transmission lines hooked up to the transmission cooler and the radiator. So naturally, this line here on the left side, or passenger side, or bottom, it looks like it wants to go over here. I'm gonna double check this. So it would normally go here and just come up to this little heater, you know, heat it up in the winter time, and then come back here. But it's gonna go transmission cooler, come out of the cooler, And then this is gonna go in over here, and this going back to the transmission. All right, we're gonna fill up the radiator with the coolant. Says roughly 8.6 quarts, something like that. I've got 4 gallons, so it should be plenty. Thinking about 1.5 of these. So we're gonna get started. I'll let you know where we end up at. Next, we're gonna put the spark plugs in. Got some Denso Iridium long lives. I've had some decent luck with those. I gapped them to 0.031 inches. And well, they basically were gapped to that out of the box, which made me feel good, but that's what's in the manual. So anyway, it's pretty straightforward, 14 foot-pounds. Use a spark plug socket wrench like that. Long extension, pretty easy. All right, update on the coolant here. It was pretty much right under 8 quarts. Got it to the top. I'm sure we'll have to burp out some air and add some more to it once we get it started. But that's a starting point right there. All right, spark plug wires, they're pretty self-explanatory. See the number 4, which will be the furthest one back. Like that. Number 3 is the outside one. Again, it is impossible to mess this up. Number 2 is the second from back. And number 1 is, looking on up through here, it's the third from back, second from front. All right, so we should have spark soon. All right, skip most of the last parts, was just hooking up the throttle cables, these 2 right there, hooking up the air intake, putting these 2 hoses on, and I got one more thing I gotta tighten up right here. But yeah, that was pretty much the things I skipped, and then the battery, got the battery hooked up. So we're about to start this thing up, hopefully.